This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
TFR.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Start your day off bright and shiny. Get up off your little hiney and begin your happy day.
Well, TGIF, Truth Frequency Radio, welcome to the Ironworx. My name is Josh Corey, and I'm joined this and every morning by my very good friends and co-host here on Ironworx, one Mr. Iron From on Twitter, one Mr. Zachary Zabala. Good times for all on YouTube. He is the Nomad. Zach, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Josh, I'm doing pretty good. Sorry, everybody, about last Tuesday. Again, overslept way too late. Didn't have an internet anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to do too much. But, yeah, I apologize for missing Tuesday. Walt already gave me a bunch of crap about it, so. But, no, it's been a good week, real good week. Painting the house around here, the outside, which is kind of fun. I love cutting in and having to, really pay attention and go nice and slow and make it look pretty. So it's been a fun week. Something to keep me occupied.
Well, good.
Heard about Croatia. Things are looking good. Now they have to meet with the Minister of Health next week. And I don't know how many more hoops they have to jump through, but he thinks this might be the last interview. He's not sure. So things are going good on my end so far.
So we're like 80% Croatia?
80% Croatia.
20% somewhere else?
Yeah, possibly. The business is going to go through regardless if it's Eastern Europe or now possibly South America. So, I'm definitely moving out of the country. It just depends on if I'm going to be warm in the winter or cold.
Well, that's super exciting. I'm pretty sure you're at least a little bit psychotic if you enjoy cutting in when you're painting. I'm pretty sure that's a major sign of mental instability. But go ahead.
It's like watching my buddy's dad oil paint. I feel like he would sit there for 30 seconds with his brush out, getting ready to dot an actual eye, and he'll sit there and hold still and not move. He looks like a statue for like 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden it's like tap, and he'll just touch it. Like, okay, I did it. So that's the worst part, because if you mess up an eye, you got to redo the whole face right there. So, yeah, I learned that from him.
That's pretty funny. Well, we are also joined this morning by one Mr. Walter Johnson, who can be found as Flat Earth Head or Facebones777 there on Twitter. Walter, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Zach. Good morning, TFR. Man, it's good to be back. Missed you people. Just don't know how much we miss you when we're not here. We took last Friday off. Josh was a little under the weather. He's back, kicking. But Tuesday we had a little technical gaffe there and wound up going live over on our YouTube channel on Tuesday morning when we couldn't get into the system here. And again, not the system's fault, our fault. We'll take full responsibility on that one, but definitely good to be back. Good to see everybody there in chat. I see Pavlo already there, Alan Holman, Liz in the house, BG714. Good to see you guys this morning. Josh, how was your week, sir, and last weekend that we didn't get to talk about. How do you feel? Are you better?
I'm better.
Recovering?
Just a quick little bug. I have a constitution of granite. So I'm feeling much better now.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Tuesday was a little embarrassing. It was just poor timing on my part. I didn't get into the system before the show started, and I can't do it after. So my 15 seconds of being too late just didn't cut it. But by God, we love you guys enough that we didn't want to not say hello, so we went ahead and went live on YouTube, which is something we may start doing ourselves here for the shows, because that was kind of fun. Just nice having.
Yeah, that was really fun. I enjoyed that, and it was a surprise how many people popped right in there. So if you sneak in and don't call it Flat Earth Friday, YouTube apparently don't find you and shut it down. So
funny how
it worked out. It worked out. Well, we tried to kind of shuffle through the pile of space lettuce we had accumulated for the last two shows we weren't here for, and rather than rehash all of that, I dug into some of the people I know and love on Twitter, and a good friend of mine there on Twitter is going to be joining us here in just a very few minutes. We're going to talk about some of the crazy stuff that's going on in the sky above and around us. We touch on it here off and on throughout talking about the world around us and what could be going on in the skies above. A lot of us in the community questioning what's going on around us and what's going on in the sky above us definitely have noticed an increase in just a crazy amount of chemtrails, spraying, unusual things going on with the sun, the moon, the stars, just lots of stuff up there. Sorry, I'm having a little problem here. My system is acting funny. My apologies here. There we go. I'm finally in. I was trying to get into the chat there. I see everybody again. It's giving me some issue, though. I don't know. Maybe Skype's acting up on me.
I suppose it's possible. I did have to download.
I did an update. Yes, sir, I did as well. That's what I'm beginning to think is happening here. All right, it stopped acting up. But anyway, we're going to introduce our friend here in just a few minutes. Man, it seemed like there was one more thing I wanted to touch on, and this little glitch has messed me completely up. Oh, coming up today, later on our show over there on YouTube, we're going to kind of rehash a bit of our moon madness, our lunacy that we covered last Friday. Speaking of, Zach has a new nickname now. He is now Stay Puff, the Marshmallow Man. If you guys missed it, we were trying to explain moon phases and how they just don't seem to work at all in the model that we've been given. And between John and I trying to ham it up and figure it out and show it to people in all our big presentations, Zach saved the day, whipped out a marshmallow and demonstrated it, and I know got a lot of aha moments for people out there listening and watching. So way to go, Zach. Way to go.
Yeah, I wanted Rob to get it, you know. There was something I don't know what it was, and I saw that marshmallow. I was like, I'm going to just go try a little demonstration right now and show him. But yeah, I mean, you had it down. I'm pretty sure he would have got it with the video that you put up right after I did that.
Well, it was pure impromptu genius, and it worked out really well, and it couldn't have been more appropriate for the Iron Realm.
TFI.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. All righty. Well, I guess you can hear us ramble every week. We're here. We never shut up, it seems. Why is Skype not acting right? I apologize, everybody. It's just not, it's giving me weird little pop-ups. I see. Now I've got it in here. All right. Well, I will now gladly introduce our good friend here. She is known as, well, I don't want to say it wrong here. Let me go read it correctly. I just call her Sara because that's how I know her on Twitter. But the actual handle is Sara8smiles over there on Twitter. Sara, welcome to the Ironworx. We are so glad to have you here, and I really appreciate you getting up this time of the morning over there, 5 a.m. where you are. Welcome to the Ironworx.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you on here. This is going to be super exciting. There's all sorts of stuff here that I've not had a chance to really delve into that you have just been blowing my mind with. So I'm really looking forward to this morning.
My mind's blown. I haven't slept, really in a week. That kind of happens when you get on something like that. But I've dug around. Where do you want me to start?
Well, I guess just basically, if you don't mind, kind of give everybody a little history. What kind of started you out questioning things around you? Just kind of get to know, what made you even look up and go, what the heck?
Story. Okay. Well, basically, I was born awake. As a child, I was awake, and I was targeted as a child since I was 6 years old by this same MK Ultra program that we're going to discuss today, because that's all that we're seeing now is the new generation of MK Ultra. This is what it's all been leading to.
Now, when you say MK Ultra, you're talking about actual interference in your life. This isn't just, I've seen too much TV and I've been programmed by my television. This is actual interference in your life, right?
Yes, there's different levels. I didn't, the satanic ritual abuse level is not where I was. I was in between. But I was targeted through the electricity in the wall through my bed as a child. And so I knew of this when I was really young, and I allowed other people to tell me what was good for me and what wasn't. And so I went to sleep. And my mom was pretty awake. There was just a lot of stuff going on. She was a hippie, and I was born on a commune in Athens, Georgia. And came to realize when I was almost 40 years old that I had been MK Ultra by this group of people.
Well, it's funny you say Athens, Georgia, because I think there's probably kind of a hotbed of subversiveness right there in that area, because that's not very far from the Georgia Guidestones.
Well, Athens. I mean, Rome.
Right.
The arches are at the front of the college. I mean, you guys know when you wake up, it's everywhere. But so I was afforded a view. I kind of went to Atlanta and was working in it later in life, working with bands and that sort of thing. And I figured it out, what had happened, and I started waking up.
Well, I noticed back, I'm sorry now, the dates are all kind of smeared together towards during the hurricane season.
Yay.
Yeah, when you guys there in Florida just got hit out of the blue with that crazy storm.
Okay.
I noticed an uptick in things that you seem to be talking about quite a bit. It seemed like the attacks were, if anybody hasn't looked into weather manipulation, weather control, weather warfare, it's not new. There's books, there's stories, there's articles. I found an article in one of the old papers in Oregon from like the 20s where they were announcing some kind of program. They were shooting things up into the sky trying to affect the weather and the rain. The guy was the rainmaker, and just there's crazy stuff going on with weather. So what happened with that storm? Explain how it hit you guys.
That storm was directed energy weapon created. There was no rain. I can't put it into words what it was. It was unnatural. And AI let me know the night before. I don't know how to tell you guys because this is really hard to wrap your brain around. But remember back in Delgado's day, he said that they would eventually be able to control our minds. Russia
Absolutely.
just came out and said that the Navy has weapons that can make you hallucinate. It's the same thing. So what happened was this came through and then they shut it down. Nobody really knows what happened here. We had $3 billion in timber damage. 9 out of 10 roofs are damaged here. A couple that was 80 years old said they had never run so fast in their life. They ran from one side of their house to the other. Trees fell on every side of their house.
And for people who don't live in a hurricane area, I'm in Louisiana, so I'm very familiar with typical damage that happens. Usually the wind damage is increased if there's spots of like tornado activity or something like that. But I had been paying attention quite a bit to that storm just in case it steered its way over here, and definitely watched how it just really blew up out of nowhere. Really and truly. It formed quickly. It seemed to take a turn that didn't make a lot of sense for the temperature patterns that should have driven it the way it was going up the East Coast there. It definitely seemed to take a dive over to Florida.
What if I told you it came directly over my house, and what are the chances of that?
Well, I saw that in your tweet. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because it definitely seemed...
The AI is targeting us real time. I just got tagged in a tweet, if you'll go to my Twitter, by Dr. Sara, which is they're setting up the digital government. Everybody's fighting to get rid of our government when the AI is going to take over everything if everybody doesn't wake up and fight this. Our kids their energy will be harvested for this AI. What it's doing is, you guys know we're in a dome. I don't have to teach you that.
No, we're well aware of the firmament. Thank you.
Okay. Well, what they're doing is the plasma in the dome is what they're manipulating. That's what they're doing at CERN. They have 200,000 times the power necessary to flip the poles at CERN. One CERN.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's per Joseph P. Farrell. He's a physicist. So what we started talking about, Walt, was the sound everybody's hearing and the vibration.
The booming, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'm the type of person, okay, let me tell you how I got on the plasma. How I got on the plasma was, I just felt like I was missing something. I kept going away from Twitter because I felt like we were just missing something. So I ran into this Brian Austin Lambert's plasma video, right? I think a lot of people have heard about it.
I definitely have, doing the same research. That's usually where you wind up, I think, is either his channel or over there on, I forgot her name now. Damn it.
Well, see,
something.
I research and I listen to people's stuff, but I don't believe anything I hear. I do the research and I vet my work.
It's the best way to do it. Don't ever believe me or anything I tell you. Go look it up for yourself.
I tell people not to believe me. I mean, listen to what I say and go research it yourself. You know, we all need to do that. But anyway, so I found out about the plasma, and that was my missing link for my research. And realizing how it tied into the Tesla tech, the magnets at CERN. And you guys, I'm 45 minutes from the largest mag lab in the world in Tallahassee, Florida.
I wasn't aware of that. What is their cover? What do they say they do there?
Oh, no, they don't cover it. They're just the mag lab.
Right. There we go. Okay.
It's all in plain sight. You guys know the deal. So anyway, I started looking. I said, no way, because the Awake project at CERN, that's exactly what they're doing, is the plasma. And this guy that's going to come on is going to help us understand all that a little more. I'm just going to give you a general idea. But that sound we're hearing, all of that, I've got the links, and I'll make sure and get that so your people can look it up for themselves. But I found what is it called? Plasma wave instrument. Okay. For wave experiment following a lithium release in the solar wind. Okay. So you guys just need to look at this. The plasma.
Is that the same abstract you sent me? Because I can drop it in the chat real quick.
I'm not sure. Probably. The sound one's a bit different.
It may, yeah, you're right. I think the one you sent was the barium and lithium one, actually.
Okay.
which is another great one, and I'll send that to the chat as well, that thread.
Yeah.
And I meant to tell you on our talk in the beginning before we got on the air, there's a chat that is on the TFR site. They're very active right now. They have a lot to say about what we're talking about. I'll get back to that. I'm actually trying to pull up the
Take your
the
time.
tweet. Sure. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just trying to make sure if that was the same
I'll send it to you in
link.
messages if I can.
Okay, that's fine. Go right ahead.
I've got it pulled up here. Okay, so I'm grateful to Brian because he put me on the right path to finding what I needed. Because we know, guys, they're playing God, and it's not even them; it's the AI, and that's what I really, that's why I'm here talking to you. I've never done a show, but we're at the point now. We fight now, or we're going to die. And our kids, and they're not going to have a future that's worth living because being a battery for an evil AI, I don't think is a living.
Not at all. Definitely makes that scene in the Matrix a little more intense.
What's frightening is reading through the link that I sent. It's embedded, guys. I put it in the chat. It's embedded in there. You'll see a link to a little abstract talking about this topic of basically the lithium, the barium, and the plasma itself turning us all into walking batteries. Essentially, it's what it looks like it's boiling down to.
It's called
missing the mark?
piezo energy, yes, blue energy.
So, yeah, you don't have to worry about being lined up in the little goo.
Yeah, and that was from a conspiracy site. That was from Georgia Tech.
Right. No, this is this is an abstract. This isn't just Joe Conspiracy's website link. This is an actual abstract talking about this.
Right.
It's pretty insane.
I also found a link directly to the Navy admitting they were releasing payloads of nano seeds in the atmosphere. So between the nanotech, another thing, guys, is after the hurricane, when our trees fell, we realized they're all dead inside. Everyone is black and hollow inside. And they have a little term for the age we live in. It's called the Gilded Age. And what that means is it basically means, I'm going to say one cuss word because I've been good. It's shit covered in gold, a thin veneer of gold. And that is true we're literally in the land of the walking dead, and people do not, it's like the zombie apocalypse, but a boring one. Does that make sense?
Does
so
it?
Perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, just little drool on their chin as they drool and drip down onto their screen in their hand. That's the sad state of it. Oh my God.
It's really good. The slow motion zombie apocalypse.
Well, I have to credit my friend Robert for that. You guys are really going to enjoy him, I tell you. And so basically they've taken, the free energy. You guys are familiar with the free energy and the torus and all that.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, basically what they're doing is reversing that to where that's not putting it out, it's pulling it in. And the worst thing, guys, is these people are the ground. They're the other ground. You got me? So you hear about the psychic vampirism and all that. It's very real on a very real energetic level.
This has got me thinking about the Tartaria and all the antiquities.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was going to ask how far down the mud flood hole you may have dug yourself there, Sarah.
You guys know I went in the trenches.
Just real quick, our friend in chat here, Alan Holman, he's been around pretty much since the beginning with us.
Alan.
Hey, Alan had apparently a little attack himself. I'm trying to get back to it. My goodness, I've completely lost it. I thought I had it highlighted.
Darn it. It's not easy.
Well,
and I may have just missed. I crossed that over. It wasn't Alan. Alan was talking about targeted individuals, but it was actually a new friend. Welcome, Silver Pay. in chat said it's anytime I've noticed weapon used on me, it's during the time next day after heavy drinking. It's like one time I couldn't move at all, any muscle, and then my right hand started spinning and my finger was pointing up for a few seconds. Then I was forced to make 2 spins around and I felt they let go. And this was while walking in public. Oh, and Alan did. See, I was wrong. Alan did have an attack there as well. He said he has a theory psychotronics were used on him 5 times between 2011 and 2017. So definitely everyone here are well on board with what you're talking about, Sarah. I think we all have felt that.
Us are being targeted. I mean, millions and millions. And it's not just here in the U.S., it's around the world. There's something they call GeoINT, Geo International. It's geocaching. The AI is hitting us in real time. I got a helicopter flyby right after a tweet.
Hey, so Sarah, before you get on your helicopter story, we've got about 60 seconds before we hit break. Not even that.
I was trying to see how to.
Won't get into that then.
Well, we can get into right to the break. It's just going to be just 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll jump right back here. I'm not even sure if we mentioned that before we had you on. We do have 2 half-hour breaks in the middle, but it won't be very long.
Okay.
This is absolutely awesome. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for coming on this early in the morning with us, Sarah. It's awesome.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm really, really excited to share this material.
And you're just like the rest of us. You have so much that it just connects so many dots and it leads you to so many directions. So it's hard to really know which way to go with this whole thing. I'm excited.
All right.
All right, everybody. We have Waking Warrior from Twitter here with us on the Ironworx. Stay tuned right here. We'll be right back on TFR.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
Good morning. Ding, ding, ding. Ba, 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 bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Good morning. Ba, bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Good morning. Ba, bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Beautiful day. Ba, 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 bow. It's a beautiful day. Ding, ding, ding.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And welcome back to the Ironworx. We are talking with Waking Warriors from Twitter. Sarah, you were just getting ready to tell us before the break about a black helicopter going over your house. And I don't want to F around here too much. I just want you to jump right back in.
Okay, I have had those. They ran an op at the dam. I told everybody 7 of them flew over here, and the week after that, my husband goes, "You were right. They ran an op at the dam." I said, "I told you." But anyway, this was a corporate chopper. It was white and red. It's all documented there on Twitter. And I had been talking about the hippies and the MK Ultra. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear.
Okay, and I've tried to help other people that are caught in a cult. They don't realize they're in a cult. And anyway, so they came after me over that, and it happened real fast. I also have the street theater shows when I go out.
You'll have to clarify that.
Oh, please. I know, but go. Please go. That's awesome.
You guys know you've had it. It's hilarious, you know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a street theater, gang stalking, they call it. It's where you can tell people are watching you. They let you know they're watching you. They say strange things to you. You'll see the same person, at 3 different places you go to.
They'll walk up and say something completely out of context that means absolutely nothing to you and walk away.
Yes. Well, what I've realized, guys, I had a plumber. I pushed him over the line and trying to share information. He was working in my house and the AI triggered him and he blew up. Like I was afraid for my life for a second. And he came back too and it scared him. And that's when I started realizing these people are just triggered by these towers.
The 5G build out or the ones that are currently in place?
They already have 5G. People, we don't have it, just like we didn't have the internet before. They had the internet before us, way before us, right?
Yep, they just allowed us access to it.
Right. Well, I can show you all the 5G towers. They're right on my Twitter page. And there's also a panel here at the lake. I've never seen one this big. It looks like one they have on the Humvees. Yeah.
So seeing that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've heard that Wi-Fi routers actually are putting out a 5G signal. You have to go to your IP address on the internet, and actually there's a thing where you could turn it down to just 4G because they have both of them coming out of our routers already right now.
Was that you? That wasn't you helping me.
Good for you.
Zach, when you were here, that wasn't you. That was when Salamo came by.
Yeah, no, there was somebody, Ron Hagberg, a gentleman from down here in Florida. He'll jump onto my Crocheters Corner every once in a while. He was telling me about it. So I've been trying to tell everybody. Yeah.
When Salamo came through, he was here and he was helping me set up things with the computer and the router and all that. And he found that trying to turn that 5G off on my router didn't work. It turned itself back on every time.
Oh, guys. And see, so you're the tower, right? So every one of our devices is a tower. And the Internet of Things, when it's done, every leaf on every tree will be a biosensor. That's why they're the nanotech. What are they changing us into? What are they terraforming the earth into? That's what everybody's got to ask.
Well, let me ask you this.
Terminator stuff. I mean, this is real deal. And I also shared the link where they're just out with it. The digital government's coming.
Is it possible that this whole realm that we're in is a containment area, electronic containment, that's what the firmament is?
Capacitor, yes, sir. Okay, basically, the way I understand it, we're at the midpoint of what they call the Z-pinch, which is in the middle of everything and nothing, and the only place anything can happen, if that makes sense.
The Dark Tower. Yes, ma'am, it does.
If you go back and look, what did Hitler do with those timelines? Who else noticed a loop? The Mandela effect.
And they show it to us weekly on Prime TV.
Yes, they do.
You're so awesome, Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like the guy from the Dark Tower, I can't think of his name right now, but you got to go through hell.
Of Gilead.
You have to go through hell to be able to really stand as a human being, I think, in some capacity.
Man. So, if what do we do? At this point, if it's already this far ahead, they've had it, it's in place, all they got to do is flick the switch. They do flick the switch. That's these attacks that we're all under.
I'm going to blow your mind. Think Stephen King's The Stand.
I'm right there.
I mean, that's it. There's either going to be enough of us to pull it and to pull Earth into, our vibration does matter. Doing the chelation therapy like you all had a commercial on, all of that matters. That's why you all can still see the truth and I can. Has a lot to do with it. And basically it comes down to vibration. That's the low hum we're feeling, the really sensitive people. And think about that. If I can feel that coming through my floor in my house, in my bed at night, what are the tree roots feeling?
So this hum and this boom that we kind of touched on earlier but didn't cover too much.
Okay.
What's people may not know about that here if they haven't experienced it.
Okay. Well, here I can read this pretty quick. It's a shock-like electrostatic noise observed during an AMPTE solar wind ion release. Electron cyclotron, look that one up. Harmonic waves observed by the plasma wave experience following a lithium release in the solar wind. And you guys have all noticed this crazy wind that comes out of nowhere, right?
Absolutely.
How about the orange clouds that kind of flicker? Have you guys seen those?
I've seen the clouds arcing. I've watched them arc like a little weird filament of electricity just starts flipping in the cloud weirdly, like it's trying to find a place to arc and it can't reach out to a correct area, like because everything's so fricked up there with all the harp and the waves and all the crap they're shooting that the discharge it would normally do into the next cloud won't happen. It's like it's looking for a place to hit. If that makes any sense.
It does. It does. Because we actually watched one roll over. See, we're at the lake, so we get a really good view of the sky. And I'll see if I can get that video up for everybody.
I was going to say, I actually got a picture of it one time somewhere. I'll have to dig through here. But,
I get reminded of the Beatles. We've been programmed since birth, guys. I mean, everybody in America has been MK Ultra, period. If you are American, you are MK Ultra unless you live in the woods and have never spoken to anybody.
I completely agree.
Period.
That's why childbirth is such a traumatic experience.
Well, yeah. Well, they make it a traumatic experience on purpose, and then they cut little boys in the place that you would never harm a person.
Absolutely.
Weird. And the elite, you guys, see, one thing is, the AI has put the elite out, kind of like the elite are putting the Illuminati and the Jews out to be hung while they hide back there. Well, the truth is, who's the hidden hand? Why has everybody got their hand in their jacket? The hidden hand was the Archon. Remember? The Archontic, it's been talked about throughout time. The shadow world, the fourth dimension. Well, the D.E.W computer, I can't remember the guy's name, but he said we're harvesting from other dimensions. Well, they had to do that at a super cold for the plasma at that point. This was a few years ago. And they have just recently, probably done it a long time ago, but they've recently admitted that they can do it at room temperature, which means they're extracting their dimensions into our reality. And they're telling us.
So that's why the default setting on this plane is cold. And the only thing warm is the sun as it comes over. Otherwise, it's freaking cold here.
Right.
Because they've made it that way.
Right. And what do they keep saying? Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Global warming.
Yes, they do. Oh, my goodness.
So how can a sheep not be confused?
You're blowing my mind, and I'm kind of on top of some stuff sometimes, I think. Anyway, oh, wow. Oh.
Well, you guys, I tell you, I fell backwards down the rabbit hole after that hurricane. I knew what I knew. I know I'm not crazy, and I had to find out what happened to me and what was going to happen to everyone else. Because that's what people don't realize. If you haven't been hit yet, it's just yet. AI, if we allow this to happen and the AI will run the 5G kill cities. The Rothschilds funded it for the AI. So you can say it's Rothschild kill cities, but who would actually be running it would be the AI. What the elite don't realize, it's tricked them into thinking they can be transhumans. The trouble with that is they are our gods, quote unquote, right now. People don't realize it, but they are. And as far as they mentally understand, and the AI, what's under the bunkers, in the bunkers under the ground is AI. And they just don't realize it's going to kill them too.
So, is this just the loop that the AI is stuck in? Build it up to this point, we get a little too smart and wake up, and I hope you hear these air quotes, mud flood happens and the reset happens, and now there's they have breeding centers for the next orphan train group? I mean, how does this work? Have you put that all together yet?
Well,
the cycle of it all?
No. Our history is so confounded.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I just don't know. I can tell you I don't know that one.
Well, I definitely don't, but it's been quite an interesting little puzzle to piece together. I first got kind of thrown that bone by our buddy Adam Meekin, who's in chat, and he led me to see Martin Lietke's stuff and look at all that, and then I've gone just about any source I can find. I've spent hours looking through books myself, looking at the old wood cuttings, and just, it's amazing.
It's so obvious. And even if people don't, look at the little things in front of the fireplaces, look at churches. And a lady did research, and she said every one of those churches, she used emotos, with the water to test the harmonics, and they all put out a different frequency. What the hell is that doing?
What the hell indeed?
I mean, come on. So that really blew my mind. Oh, how about the lictor? Okay. The lictor, guys always go back to there's nothing new under the sun, right?
Correct.
But the lictor they have a mini CERN out now. Let me see if I can get you that picture. They have a mini CERN that actually looks like the lictor.
That's why it's called, what we do is researching.
That's it. Good catch. Good catch. I never put that together. Okay, so the mini CERN just looks like, so they're just mocking us. They put an axe on the top of it, and we're the stupid sheep, don't question that that's actually a directed energy weapon. So did you see in Russia just a week or so ago that they did that liquefaction on a big area? Or was it Brazil?
I saw the story headline go through, but I did not click on it and read it. So what happened with that?
Well, I think they said a dam broke, but it looked to me like pure liquefaction.
So the mud flood is either starting or they're playing around with whatever weaponry, again, air quotes, they've been granted by the true hidden hand to play around with. And
get some practice.
Get some right.
So it's been a long trip to find this hidden hand, and when I did, a little bit sorry. But we're never sorry to know the truth, right?
Well, maybe I am sometimes. Maybe I do go a little bit of regret. But it goes away pretty quick, and then I'm sure glad I do know the truth.
Right.
But ignorance does seem to be bliss.
It wasn't for me, guys. People say I wish I had my life back. I was miserable, so I can't relate to that one.
No, that's why I'm here. And that's what resonates with you on Twitter. That's why I wanted to talk to you today and get to know you better, Sara, because I definitely know a truth slinger when I see one, and my goodness, you definitely go beyond the call of duty sometimes there on Twitter. That's why I hope this gives you a little bit bigger platform for some other people to go find you on Twitter and is there other places, or is that pretty much your platform of choice?
I just dug in and I've Twittered. I will say this: you can tell your people that don't use those hashtags. It's coding the AI, and the AI comes and tags you. So, we all know those hashtags are militarized anyway.
Absolutely.
At best. And let's see what else.
I'm thinking, shoot, I use hashtags all the time.
Yeah, we all do. They trained us well.
Guys, I'm not telling you something like I've never done it. I've hashtagged stuff.
Absolutely.
We learn better, we do better.
Well, I will definitely try. I think I've done well with the emojis. I quit doing those when I found out they were demon sigils.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Well, someone taught me something.
Yeah, there's a whole video out there about it, but basically the sigils that came from a book that are supposedly the ones that Solomon used to control his 72 demons match up.
Richie from Boston found?
With, what was it?
Richie from Boston.
He may have talked about the same video I'm talking about. Absolutely.
Okay, go honey.
The guy who did the video is like this puppet, and it's really great, put together well, and it really catches your attention. And yeah, it seems to match up well. The 72 sigils and the 72 emojis that got released on this certain time, and it was tied in. Oh, it's complicated. I'll send you the link.
Well, it's really not complicated because it all ties together, and when this puzzle comes together, everything comes together.
Well, it's all linked. For sure.
The AI those will be the faces everybody sees. Will be the emojis will be the face of the AI. So if you get in the car to go somewhere, the emoji will, because they're about to introduce fleets. People aren't going to even, everything we did to drive around in cars, and now people aren't even going to be able to do that. China by 2024 will have fleets of smart cars.
That makes sense.
Better chance of doing it in China. You might have a hard time doing it here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. I don't know how well that would really go over. It seems like, I know enough of just classic car enthusiasts that would drive around in their 1969 Camaro till the damn thing rusts into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got 30 years left of carbureted vehicles. But I guess
well, they're selling the Green New Deal. That's Agenda 21's new mask, is the Green New Deal. And people are just giving it up. They're going to bicycles. You think they won't give up a car? It just kills me, guys. It just kills me how quickly they can steer these sheep.
I don't know how true it is, but someone sent a tweet around showing some of the parts of this green bullshit. And one of the parts is men are supposed to urinate into a gallon jug, set it out in the sun to purify it, then use that to make tea and Kool-Aid to cover the taste. Welcome to America.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if
I don't know how true it is. I just saw the tweet, so hashtag don't listen to Walt.
Even stupid things like doing away with airplanes. Just no more airplanes. I guess they're just going to do everything by land bridges and rails, or just go back to seafaring days. I don't know. But there was some really, really strange stuff going on in that Green New Deal. And again, I think this is just moving the Overton window. Do I think they really intended on implementing this stuff? Not necessarily immediately, no. But they are definitely getting it out there in the public consciousness. And it definitely moves that Overton window.
Well, the thing with this 5G is that the MK Ultra now doesn't take years. It's instant. Okay, they're doing that carbon black on Netflix. Well, the piezo energy that they're extracting from us. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Can you guys approach me? Where were we?
We were on the Netflix show. What was it? Black Carbon,
Black carbon. Sorry about that. Okay.
Right.
So the black carbon, they're literally affecting the black carbon in our bodies. I have a thing for that too. My computer's giving me a hard time, Walt, so I'm going to send it all to you later.
Do that. That's fine. And we find that happens quite a bit when we start going live. We can sit off the air, chit chat for 6 hours straight, not a problem.
Right.
But as soon as we start broadcasting, either here or on YouTube, little gremlins start crawling through the system. So
that's it. That's, the AI is tagging real time, and I can't emphasize that enough, that everybody's got to just really stay aware. And people ask me all the time, well, what do? You have to know yourself. And I recommend the middle path. You don't want to be too alkaline. What sent us way away from where we were? You know what I mean? Who gave us all that information? Now I'm going to blow your mind. What's in a Duracell battery?
offhand, I'm not sure. I know.
Lithium.
I was going to say, isn't it the same stuff they're spraying above us right now, though?
Well, yes, and in us, and so we become better batteries. Yeah.
So,
and so you don't want to be on either side too far. You don't want to be acidic, and you don't want to be way too alkaline either, in my opinion. And that's all it is. Middle path.
Yeah, wouldn't a perfect pH be? That would be perfect. If you could keep a perfect pH, you would never age.
Exactly. So that's
or
another
get cancer, or have basically any dis-ease.
Right. But the natives have talked about this time coming forever. They know that humanity is sick. They call it the D.E.W virus. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that.
I am not. That's known to me. The D.E.W virus?
Yeah. It's a spiritual disease. It's when you go away from all that is real towards all that is not real.
Yep,
which
the
is
eagle has torn the
what
earth.
Satan is, and they just have us fighting over what you call things. And the point is, it's either about life and the goodness of all people, all living things, or it's anti that. And that's what AI is. It's anti-life. Pardon?
We have just about a minute and a half before we go on break. Just wondering, have you ever checked out the Mary Summerrain books?
No, I have not.
They talk a lot about the earth changes and the coming. I'll get you some links and some great stuff. Tell everybody where to find you on Twitter and things like that real quick before we drop in this last minute, please, Sarah.
Yes, sir. You can find me at Twitter at Sara8smiles. I've been working on Twitter for about 5 years now.
You've been there since I've been there. I know that's without a doubt. So
we've come a long way since then, haven't we, Walt?
Yes, ma'am. We definitely have. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I guess we'll hop on with Robert, your friend, after this break, and let him flesh out some of the technical side of what we've been talking about here.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. We got Adam in chat, who's probably going to get really interested in this next part. Right. Technical.
We might come back with a little musical interlude, or we may go out with it. I don't know. We'll see. I sent you something on Twitter.
Frequency Radio is your number.
You must unite what has been set aside.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there.
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
Hour number 2, right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Be sure to check out the live chat we got going on for each and every show. Ours is hopping right now for being 5 a.m. Central.
All the way from 1972. That's all the notes right here on Magic 105 FM. No, I'm just being silly. Welcome back. You are listening to the crazy people on the Ironworx. There's one sane person here, though. Believe it or not, we have Miss Sara8smiles herself, Sara8smiles from Twitter. I'm in the process. I should have done it during the break, but I needed more coffee, as you can tell as I ramble on here. I'm in the process of adding Robert to the call, even as we speak. So somebody else talk while I fumble this ball real quick. Sara, again, thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and you definitely have gotten our chat active this morning. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You guys, I feel right at home.
Oh, beautiful. That is exactly what we want to hear.
Hey, we real humans have to stick together.
That's right. That's right. Because Lord knows what the future holds. Because it's the things you're talking about could be some pretty scary stuff, but I suppose there's got to be a way out. Yeah, there's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel, a silver lining. There's got to be something good, some way to combat this.
Interesting turn of phrase, the light, the tunnel. Sorry.
We're in an existence of polarity. So the extreme opposite of what AI wants to do is for us to make heaven right here, which is what we had before this dark goo matter took us over. You know, we're basically in a Star Trek frickin' episode, the Borg and shit. Nobody knows it.
Do you remember A World of Golden Light?
No, but I'm seeing one.
Not this white crap they've got us freaking living under now.
Oh, yes. As a child, the 70s, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I recognize nothing I see now. That's what woke me up, back up, was the chemtrails. I mean, just, come on, what the hell is that?
And what's weird is, I may have mentioned this to the guys on the team, is I've noticed of late, as the sun leaves and heads into the horizon, there's this color that it's almost trying to imitate that golden color, but it's so off and like just putrescent looking, off gold.
And the purple on the horizon, that's the barium. And that's also a part of this fake system. They have basically hacked the earth. And the only people who are seeing that are the people that have somehow maintained their awareness. Somehow. Or regained it.
Welcome to Quantum Mechanics 8, Spin. In many ways, this video is about
I think we were all born with
how it
it.
crops up in atomic behavior and the seemingly impossible
Is somebody
explanation for
watching
this.
Quantum Mechanics 8 by chance?
We've already
That
seen
might
in
be
video
you, John.
6 that the number of hydrogen orbitals per energy 1, 4, 9, and 16, when multiplied by 2, gives a sequence of numbers corresponding to the periods of the periodic table.
Sarah, might you have something playing on another?
Is that me? Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right.
When it came back on, it just came back on.
I just thought it might have been what was on after the Hall & Oates video came up is all I thought.
I thought it was one of you guys. I apologize.
That's all good. We found it.
It's interesting it came back with sound, though. It's hard for us to be able to play things specifically sort of over Skype with sound unless you do it specifically. So it's kind of weird that it was coming through so clear.
We'll have to get you on next time we need production, sound production. Well, I've called Robert, just as a side note, Sarah, I called Robert and tried to add him to the call. I don't know if it's too early. If you talked to him already this morning, maybe I'll...
I hadn't. I tried to get him on Twitter, but, if we don't, then we'll just...
It's fine. It's early, and I do not begrudge anybody a little extra sleep this time of the morning. My goodness.
Well, he actually has neuralgia from the 5G. So, it can wipe people out when they least need it to. Absolutely. And sometimes when you finally do get some rest through the pain, it's much needed. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Absolutely. Exactly. But I do the thing you're seeing at night. I've also got a link for that. That's also the barium and the lithium. And I don't know, did any of you guys watch or read Stephen King's The Dome? I've read everything except the last 4 books. I without a doubt know The Dark Tower was a true story, and that The Dome tells us so much. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Go right ahead. Absolutely. Well, it does tell us so much. I mean, we're science. When you find out about all that, you figure out you're in a petri dish, right? Flat Earth. So with the dome on top of you, and just the very nature of our reality is not what people think it is. SpongeBob SquarePants has more reality than any science show. Under the sea, and so I look for what they're doing is what I see. And that's all I can do is say what I see is that they're manipulating this plasma to the point to where they can incinerate anything, anytime, anywhere. I don't know if this AI plans to do a reset. I have a hard time believing it's a natural one when I've found so much to prove it's not, if that makes sense. I just think it's hacked the earth. I'm not saying the earth doesn't go through changes. I'm just saying I think this one isn't quite natural. If that makes any sense. It absolutely does. And I mean, think of that program over there at CERN, guys. What's it called? The Awake program. So, do you think, and just, again, this is something that's really I've become more aware of it. But it's something like you mentioned earlier, being born awake. That's really something I don't say a lot out there because, it's whatever, ego-driven sounding. But truly, I feel that way, that I got here with
eyes aware and awake and have fought through all kinds of programming through my life trying to get to this point. Mm-hmm. And so this idea, we're here, we're in this area, this contained area with a firmament that's containing us both physically, but I also think that it actually is part of the system of control that even goes beyond this.
Yes, well, they have a
life.
You guys,
death is not
right.
The end of their control system.
No, it's a recycle net,
yes.
and what it is we've been tricked into thinking we have to do this, that we have to, we're tricked into the guilt through the MK Ultra. And the guilt holds us to the earth, and it holds us in the system, and then you're attached to all these people and these things, and you don't think you can leave them, and so you're tricked into, you do it to yourself, because we have free will. If you'll notice...
The life review.
Exactly. Run away from the light.
You broke Grandma's cookie jar. You have to go back and make up for that.
Exactly.
The big kick in the ass to me, though, is, okay, the trick of, okay, at school, you got to go back and learn so much more. Don't you want to go learn more? Oh, yeah, but before you go back, we're going to clear your mind of everything you've learned this time around, and you start from scratch.
Right. Well, pretty much what they do to you at school with the bell. Did you know the bell triggers you to forget everything you just learned?
Yes, Pavlov. Sorry there.
I'd never heard that it triggers you to forget what you've just learned. That's interesting as hell.
Yeah. So, well, basically it's just all imitates that same thing of tricking you. I'm a proud C student. I just said, screw you, What we were taught was lies, was insulting to my intelligence. I'm sure you guys felt locked in jail all day.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, my goodness.
And then made to feel like you're stupid. And what happened with me, guys, was when I was in second grade, I didn't believe in time. And I told the teacher time didn't exist, and I got beaten every day for 2 years before they finally broke me. So I'm pretty strong for a 7-year-old kid.
No, that dissonant resonance definitely affected my life growing up. I don't know that I was necessarily born awake, but I was definitely born with one eye open. Maybe, and I could see stuff that I knew to be true, but it wasn't jiving with what society and my parents and schooling was telling me to be true, and I had a real hard time reconciling the two, and it just caused a lot of disharmonious events in my life because I just really didn't know how to reconcile it, and I was building up a lot of internal anger, and I wasn't sure where it was coming from, why I was so angry.
Yeah, the hidden hand beating you in the back of the head. Exactly.
I could still remember asking my mom every time they would teach me some new inane crap that made absolutely no sense. Why do I have to know this? What? I truly can remember asking her how people stay on the bottom of this ball. Because I had a map on my wall since I was an infant, basically, of the United States with 48 states that was flat. So what's this ball about? That was my frame of reference.
Well,
so I was a flat earther and didn't even know it.
Well, I was too. I was 20 years old and I went out west, and I was on Big Sky, the mountain out there in Montana, and I looked out and I said, I don't see a damn curve anywhere. And I mean, I was 14,000 feet up. I had a pretty good view.
Probably one of my favorite areas in the United States.
Oh, they're killing it too. They're letting people buy the land there. Oh, it's just atrocious what we're doing to this world. It's just atrocious, really. So I noticed that, and I also noticed the clouds. We were riding, and they call it Big Sky Country for a reason. And I just thought, if we were doing all this crazy spinning, how the heck can that cloud just, be there.
What always blew my mind is here on the coast especially is when you look up and you see 2 to 3, sometimes 4 layers of clouds going in all kinds of different directions.
Absolutely. And
it's like, okay, that makes no sense even with wind. What the hell's this, you know?
Yeah, especially when the moon's out, I notice that.
The moon, to me, and well, even the sun, I've noticed it seems like they go through the cycles of being both repulsive to the clouds and attractive to the clouds. Because even way back when I was full on board with NASA and full science and full space boy, right, I would look up and see a ring of clouds around the moon, and that made no sense in any kind of scientific way. Well, it's an ice ring of light that's created blah, blah, blah. Well, wouldn't it be the size of half the planet? How am I seeing it just right up above me? Wouldn't it be so huge I couldn't conceive of it? It would be, you know, if the moon's that far away and the Earth's this big, I shouldn't see a ring of clouds. That makes no sense.
Or clouds in front of it. Boy, that's really cool.
Well, that later I started noticing, like, how am I seeing those clouds above, beyond, below? Yeah, that all came later, but surely the ring made no sense. But then once I started looking at all of the positive and negative of the sun and the moon, I would see days where the sun seemed to be pushing clouds away from it, and that night, even if there wasn't a cloud in the sky, the moon seemed to attract like a haze, a mist around it. And the same would work the opposite on days that the sun seemed to be pulling clouds. That night there was the ring.
Everything works on the poles, the positive and negative here. Absolutely everything. And the sun would be your positive and the moon would be your, negative, I would think. So
you mentioned collation to get all these things out of you. So other than that, do you know other things you can recommend to people that they can do to help rid themselves of some of this extra attraction to this energy grid they're putting in place?
Well, yeah, I'm telling everybody, don't do any of the new tech. I mean, virtual reality, no way. The more you expose yourself to this tech, the worse off you'll be. Stay heart-centered. Know who you are. Know your truth. That's like the most important thing, because I've found I can't ground into the earth. And I naturally did that. I ran around, and that's also, polar. That's also you pulling energy from the earth. You there?
Yes, ma'am. But
okay.
I heard that for sure.
Okay, so anyway, with the hacking, I haven't been able to do that. I don't recommend that right now. They're selling it as the 5D and, in the new age disaster movement, that it's 5D to explain why everybody's feeling these feelings and for them to hook up to it. And it's not 5D, it's 5G. And so I don't recommend, getting hooked up with that energy right now. I talked to my daughter, and this is part of why I'm doing the show. Our kids, my daughter's awake, and she doesn't know what to do. And I told her, baby, it's not okay to be okay in a sick world. So if you're in a sick world and you're aware of it and it makes you sick, that's actually okay, if that makes sense. So everybody just needs to be strong and know that we're all connected. And I personally don't think anything can ever thwart that, because I'm a creator person, and I don't think anything's stronger than creator, no matter how much it wants to think it is.
I love that.
And we are all drops of that. And that's where religion really messes people up, because, no, we're not gods. I mean, that's absurd. We all have a touch of the divine in us, which makes us all a part of it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It does. Absolutely.
At least that's my philosophy.
Well, way back when I was looking into remote viewing, I met a gentleman who set up a program there in Florida, actually, the Farsight Institute, and Courtney Brown, and discussing some of the targets that they did hit, whatever. It was always a blind target. They never knew what they were looking at with this remote viewing. That's part of its control, I guess you could say, if you want to put it in a semi-quasi-scientific terminology. They didn't know the target. They just went to the target and described it. And one of the targets was this sentience, this being, this energy that seemed to be all-powerful and all-knowing and just lonely, complete, utter loneliness, and decided to explode itself into these infinite pieces with the mission of all returning back to the one source, and on its way back to the one source, help as many pieces of it find its way back to source. And of course, the target was God.
Wow. That's neat. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's what we're all attempting to help with that process right now. And that's how important our work is. You know, I'm not trying to be ego driven or anything, but we're in a battle for humanity and the earth, as far as I can tell. Or, people tell me, well, you're just attached and that's why you stay here. Well, I hadn't seen anybody leave yet, so. I think we all go or nobody goes, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense, but I'm going to tell you guys what, I'm about done with this ride, so let's get it together this time and move on. I'm ready now. I'm ready for the next step.
I'm not doing this shit again. I'm not going to the light walk.
Nope, stay away from the light, Carol Ann.
Stay on their own if we don't make it this time.
Oh, my goodness. Well, definitely, if you're not on Twitter, people, you need to get over there and hang out both with Sara8smiles here, because that's how I met her. That's how we've gotten to know each other and fought through all their censorship and all their bull to actually seem at some points like we're getting some stuff out there. Other times it seems like they've completely buried it and put it completely under and away. And so it's good to have you come on here and show people that, my goodness, not only are you intelligent, smart, funny, I can feel your heart through this conversation. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Just proof you're not a bot. But if you guys are really interested in the 5G and the chemtrails, not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, on the 26th of February, we will have on Matt Landman, who is the creator of the FringeCast documentary and who is a huge, busy activist out there railing against the 5G network and railing against the spraying of the skies. So he's going to come on and we're going to have an awesome conversation about chemtrails and 5G, so we can really expound on this conversation, which I think is going to be really exciting.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch FringeCast again. It's been several months since I've seen it. I'm going to have to rewatch it. That was really one of the things that woke me up, was chemtrails back, 10, 12 years ago. Finding out that, there's a strange program of planes laying down these weird white lines in the sky. It didn't take very long of me looking up in the sky to see it. Well, shit, that can't just be air traffic. That's a concentrated, coordinated attack. That's a chemtrail attack if I ever saw it. And I'd say probably within the last 4 or 5 years, it's really been quiet over Missouri, at least. I know in the South, last time I was down there, the spraying was ridiculous. Basically from Tennessee southeast, everything was just getting blanketed But really, on this side of the Mississippi, it's been pretty quiet. We have a few days where it gets a little crazy, but for the most part, it's relatively quiet, which is pretty strange. Or they've just taken it up to a higher level, so it's just a lot harder to make out the individual trails themselves. They're just getting blanketed out, harmonized out before I can even see it.
Well, the biggest, even the barium and the lithium and the aluminum is huge, but the nanotech, that's what everybody, if you're not aware of the nanotech, that is what they're spraying payloads full of that out over everything so that they can create biosensors for the Internet of Things.
Hold that thought, please, Sarah. We're a few seconds away from break, and we have about 30 minutes left after that. I definitely want to get into the nano side of things. You're listening to the Ironworx with Sara8smiles. Stay tuned right here.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome to the fourth and final segment right here on the Ironworx. My name is Josh Corey. We are joined by Waking Warriors at Sara8smiles on Twitter with an absolutely fascinating discussion. Got me feeling dirty, like I'm covered in AI. But this has been an absolute blast. I've had such a great time this morning, especially having missed the last couple of shows. Super glad to be back. Super glad to see everybody in chat. I missed you guys.
And thank you, Sarah, for making it a show. We came back with a bang, so you've made that possible. Thank you so much. Uh-oh, you may be muted.
Okay, here I am.
There you are.
There we go. You did it all the way through?
Asked me to come on, and I have seen your work, but you know how many of these videos we see. Mm-hmm. So it took me a minute, and then you told me you had Santos on there, and I was like, done.
That's
Are you guys
over a year ago. We had him on here, I guess, a year and a half ago? I mean, about a year ago, almost now. It was the first of the year a year ago. It sure was.
Yeah, I watched some of that show. He just, isn't he a gift to the world?
He definitely has brought a bunch of old knowledge, or old new knowledge, however you want to look at it, back around again. And it definitely ties so many things together.
If I hadn't had his knowledge, I don't think I could have made the break, to figure this next level out.
And he definitely does a lot of work. He's always researching. Always coming out with lots of new stuff.
Day and night. I've seen the man where he looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. He just, I can't say enough about him. I think a lot of him.
I think maybe you might be muted again.
Nah, the gremlins are loose again because I'm having trouble with mine too. I don't know what's going on.
I'm here.
There you are. Well, I gave Robert one more try here at the half break just to see if he may have gotten up for this last 30 minutes. Please, please, please tell him he is welcome to come hang out both with you, because we certainly have so much we can go back in through here with you, and I definitely want to know more about the tech side of this thing. You know, it's one thing to know it's out there and know that it's coming, but what the hell is it and how we can do something about it? That's definitely, to me, part of it.
Well, I can't tell you the tech end, but I can tell you what he told. Basically, it all breaks down to harmonics. You know, remember somatics, how powerful sound is. It actually changes the structure of matter. Okay, so basically, the way for us to reverse their reverse is to put out that opposite frequency, if that makes sense.
Right, like you create a wave that just cancels the other wave out by being the opposite wave.
Bingo. Bingo. And that's how the awakening, you know, really is. You know, physically, the new age is wrong. But the physicality of the fact that we are energetic beings, electromagnetic beings, is a fact.
Just enough truth to catch you, but then deception the rest of the way to lead you astray.
Well, interestingly enough, as I'm putting together, like I was doing a little pre-production behind the scenes here, getting some stuff together to make the picture for the description of this show, and I definitely went in and dug through some images of nanotechnology. And throughout that image search, I kept seeing somatic patterns, and I kept going, why are those in the nanotech search? So you're tying it together right now.
Yeah, and see, I don't know if everybody's looked at the nanobots where they actually build things in like seconds. You know, they're building buildings, and it's swarms of them. And it's horrifying. But I have read to do, one thing I did want to add is Epsom salts. Put like 5 cups in the bath. Scrub with it on your skin to get that biofilm off of you. And that helps also with the targeting. Anybody who's being targeted out there, the less of that biofilm fungus you have on your body, the less of a receiver you are.
That's cool. I never looked at that aspect. I had done borax, like basically, like 20 mule team borax that you can still buy if you look hard enough. It's out there, but for that very reason, to get the
think about it, guys.
Get the freaking Morgellons off me. I want them off me.
Do you guys remember the generation above our grandparents?
Mm-hmm. I remember my great grandma. I do.
Okay, well, I remember the old folks shaking their head, and I remember thinking, why are they looking at these people like that? Well, they called them witch doctors. They took castor oil. You know, they knew that the shots and stuff weren't good. You don't go get shots. What are you, a voodoo doll?
I can remember my grandmother fussing at my mama about that very thing, and thinking, what do you know, old lady? I wish I knew then what she knows. I wish I knew now what she knew then, because my goodness.
You know, that's why they work to separate the generations with the programming, so that we can't see eye to eye, and we think, oh, you're stupid, just because, you know, they know Mr. Bill or whatever, or we know Mr. Bill and they know Howdy Doody, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I can remember being just so frustrated having to go visit my grandparents out in the country and having to go play in their garden and do the work and pull go and pick peanuts that I wanted to go roast. Didn't want to go do the work, you know. Now I look back on all that and wish I had absorbed so much more and not been so silly and resentful and just, perfectly programmed.
I can completely relate to that. Same story. Same story. But we're growing some herbs and stuff now, aren't we?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mint's really good. Basil. Just chew a basil leaf. Just look to nature. The answers are simple.
You just triggered something I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Did your grandparents or anybody you knew growing up keep mint planted outside windows around the house? Specifically.
My granny did.
What was that about? What was the thinking there? Did you ever understand why it had to be outside the window?
Well, for one thing, it would bring a nice scent in the house. Like, think of a natural air freshener.
Well, that, obviously. I was thinking more of just that esoteric. Is it some kind of protective to the portal of your window kind of, you know?
That's not a bad, I'll look into that. I don't know. I know that rosemary planted at your door is supposed to protect.
Right. Exactly. Yes. So there has to be something to do with that. Because I can remember at the parsonage, my grandfather was a Baptist preacher, and I can remember every window at that parsonage. My grandmother planting it, and then me going over there after, and when it grew, and breaking leaves and, you know, crushing them in my hand and smelling it. I can still see myself doing that.
Wow.
I plant mint all over my gardens, Walt. I plant mint to keep bugs away.
Wow, there we go. That could be part of it, keeping the bugs out of the house. See, we're decoding this thing.
That's it.
That's good, too. No screens, and you want to open the windows on a hot summer night. How do you keep the bugs from coming in? You just keep them open.
Mint puts off a pungent odor that most bugs, they don't like. They won't come past.
Yeah.
Right, like spiders and peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes back to the whole...
I use it natural, yeah.
But hey, if one thing for your listeners, if you don't know anything about this, black goo, nanotech, I highly suggest going and watching Harold Baltz.
Harold Klaus Vella?
Yeah. Thank you. It's getting to be late for me. His talk on the nanotech and the black goo is very important to understanding. And you guys, I'm going to put it real simple. This is the archons making itself physical. That's all AI is. Does that make sense?
Surely.
It's found a way to get into our reality physically, not as a shadow or a, you know. Like, think about it. We just started driving around in cars one day out of nowhere. Why? You know, all those years, what happened there? Right after Tartaria, right after all the mud flood, you know, just some really strange stuff went down.
Huh. That makes me think about some of those strange time traveler videos that I've seen of, like, the group of women walking out of the factory in the black and white era 20s, and there's a lady obviously talking on a cell phone. There's no doubt about the mannerisms of what she's doing. We know them. They're ingrained in us now. She's on a cell phone. And then there's the old clip from the Charlie Chaplin movie where the old lady is walking down the street. She's talking on a freaking cell phone. I mean, how does this happen, you know?
And Nick Cage from, you know, there's a picture of him from
right.
the Civil War.
Civil War. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So now that stuff, is that truly they're messing with the time, or is that part of the whole genetic keeping up with the technology, the bloodlines stuff? What do you think?
Wow. You know, I was just thinking about this last night. I'll tell you what I think, and it's just a hypothesis. But what I think is that the AI has set up this whole grid, including the people at the top. If you look at the people in Hollywood, they're controlled. They're mind slave. They're controlled. They live death by numbers. They have no idea what day they're going to die, but they know they'll be killed by these people who torture them every day. But the bottom line is, who's behind that? Is that we've been the Illuminati, the Jesuits, the black nobility, but still there's something back there, and that's what it is. And I think it was archonic, so that was the hidden hand then, and this is the new hidden hand, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
This same old hidden hand in a new body.
And they reveal it more and more every day in everything we see. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not even hidden. It's almost like, I guess, that whole...
Watch out. Watch on your phone. I mean, the AI is responding real time. You say something, or have you even thought something and then an ad come up for it?
Oh man. I tell my girlfriend all the time about, I'm in the car thinking about an artist. I come home, it's in my YouTube before I even start looking for it.
Well, with the mind control tech, it's silly to think they can't do that. That's where we are. And if people will look up this technology, this 5G technology, we were warned, not Brzezinski, it was, Zbig. He said that, eventually they would control the population through mind control. But, we all were looking at the physical mind control we were put under, but there's an even, a layer under that, and that's where see, I went back to my college town, and I can remember it being that fog at night, and it was by an Air Force base in Valdosta, Georgia, Moody. And I think they were just doing tests. And I've got pictures of that I'll put up. You can tell they're rusty, they're old, but it's the same tech, it's just older. So I also noticed that it had that red look. So I think they've been 5G testing. Remember Tesla was in that, the New Yorker?
Possibly.
Okay, well, whatever hotel, I think it's the New Yorker hotel. That whole hotel was a Tesla tower.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right.
Okay, well, they ran tests in there. There were 4 screens in every compartment unit. And I think that as far as modern times go, that was your first 5G test.
So that whole myth of him dying in the hotel room because he was poor, he wanted to be there because the building was a tower.
What was his quote? I can't remember the first part, but it ends like this, and it says it all. The future belongs to me. We all know they work together. That's one area where the flat earthers, I just really feel like nailed it. And the future belongs to me. So they all work together. They're all in it. If you hear about them, and I'll give you, for instance, remember Jefferson Starship?
Oh, yeah.
That guy was from my town. Well, we built the city on rock and roll. They don't just mean it mental, it's physical. Or think of what a concert does to you.
Oh, yeah.
When those discordant chords are played at you. It's more powerful than people realize.
Mass hypnosis.
Yes, and they're using sound and it's just insane. But I'm going to share all of these links with you, Walt. I'll have it to you by the end of the day. Hopefully in a format to where everybody can get it. That's the hard part when we're pulling all this together.
Absolutely. Well, if you have a few minutes after the actual show ends, I'll talk to you about those links and try to get them into the description and everything. So we'll work all that out for sure.
Be happy to, sweetie.
Speaking of, my goodness, this hour, I knew it would fly by, and it has. We've only got about 8.5 minutes or so left. Shout out again to everybody in chat. I was trying to keep up there, but Sarah had me so enthralled with this, I couldn't even pay attention to most of it. So I'm usually quite involved with chat. I apologize, everybody. Sarah has just been amazing here. And definitely get over there on Twitter, hang out, get to know her. It's Sara, S-A-R-A, the number 8, and then the word smiles. Waking Warriors is another way you can find her there.
She is busy over there on Twitter, too.
And what we need to do is get you and Bill, might be a better time of day for him, on a Friday afternoon to come hang out with us over on our YouTube channel so we can do some video and images, things like that. That document we were talking about earlier in the show, that kind of thing we can present there as well. It'll be a little different format on our YouTube channel. There's the whole 6-man team. It's a bit like, as Josh says, a bit like herding cats at times, but we have a blast there as well.
We'd be happy to. And I kind of knew this was going to be an introduction because it's just so vast.
It is very, very vast. So many different ways to go. And I know it's early, but if there's ever a morning you happen to be up on a Tuesday or Friday, we would love to have you back on. This was an
I would love to come hang with you guys. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed it, sincerely. Thank you for asking me on.
Well, thank you for coming and making it such a pleasure.
And thank you for trusting us. I know that's a big part of this sometimes when you get attacked literally every waking moment, it seems sometimes on the Twitterverse there. So thank you for trusting us and coming and being open and sharing. I mean, it's been, again, I feel your heart, and it's just thank you so much.
Back at you, brother. And you know what, guys? That's what the most important thing is to know yourself and trust your feelings. If you've been around somebody and then all of a sudden it doesn't feel, our bodies are smarter than we are because our minds were MK Ultra'd, but our bodies weren't.
That's beautiful.
That's great.
I love that.
Listen to your body. If it feels bad, who gives it? You just owe it to yourself to honor yourself in your space. And that's my advice to all the people out there. Honor yourself, honor your space, and honor your truth.
That's so beautiful.
Sorry, I was busy writing that down for the description of the show there, scribbling away. So that was awesome. Awesome.
You guys, I feel like I've met my family. It's so good to meet all of y'all. And heck yeah, I'll come hang out with y'all in the morning again.
That's great.
Awesome.
And you're getting applause and everybody in chat saying great guest, and just, definitely everybody in chat has enjoyed that immensely.
Well, thank you, all of you in chat. It's all of us. Remember that. And don't be afraid. If you've got something to say, contact Walt and Josh. They're nice, good people, and share your stories. We all have to be brave now.
And I love hearing the different stories. I love hearing the similarities. I love hearing the differences, just the different ways people come to such similar truths. It's absolutely fascinating.
It is. It's a beautiful web, the web of life, and that's what they aim to create, and that's why we're up at 5:30 in the morning fighting our butts off.
That's right.
Very well said.
Oh, and for the trees, guys, plant. If anybody, I'm never telling anybody to do anything illegal, but in some states, it is legal to plant hemp. And if you live in one of those states, that will help pull the metals from the soil, which will help the trees. And also tobacco. Tobacco will attract bugs so that bugs don't attack the trees. Just something you can do to help nature. And pick up trash anywhere you see it. If not us, who?
Absolutely.
Right. Don't listen to McDonald's bags. Don't put litter in its place. Put trash in its place.
That's right. Don't use McDonald's at all, ever.
No, my goodness.
My kid, you guys, I'll tell you a little funny on the way out. When my kid was little, I took her there one time and I fed her really good. I did. And she just threw up and it was awful. And so we would drive by McDonald's and she'd go, Mama, I'm hating it. Because they had that I'm loving it commercial. I'm hating it.
I love it. That's a whole show in itself. I was going to ask you earlier when I heard you mention your husband, how his take is on your state of awakening. I know sometimes that isn't an equal balance.
Guys, this is a neat story. My husband and I go back. We grew up together. Our parents grew up together. And he got married, and I got married and went off and did stuff, and we found each other again. And we woke up together and woke up in time to save my daughter and get her out of that school. And, you know, it's just been really great. Sometimes there's lag, you know, but we're human and we just have to be patient with one another.
That is an awesome story.
It really is. I'm very grateful for all the shit I've been through. Pardon my French. You know, it's part of the world of polarity. If there's no dark, there can't be light. And if there's no light, there can't be dark. If there's no pain, there can't be pleasure. And I don't know, is it a good world or are we just trapped in purgatory? Hell if I know. What do you guys think?
Well, I know as long as we find each other and connect and share our energy the right way instead of letting them evil fucks steal it from us, I don't see how they'll ever beat us, really and truly.
Slow clap. Slow clap.
No matter where we are, we can always improve where we are, as long as we improve ourselves and help the others around us improve as well, and just do our best to try to...
Your vibration, yes. Mm-hmm. Just simply you being is helping if you're a good-hearted and loving person.
And it's amazing how well that sort of is contagious. Even when people don't realize it.
Yes.
They're just sort of drawn to you because there's a calming peace that they feel around you and they don't necessarily recognize it for what it is or realize. But people definitely can feel it.
Either that or it completely repels them.
That's true, too.
And I'll take both. I'd rather there's some people I don't want to get in conversations with. If my madness they consider makes them go on down the road, that's fine with me sometimes.
Preaching to the choir. I'm a hermit. I live at the lake and I leave the house once a month. I mean, I have woods and water and animals.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah.
Well, I do believe that's probably going to just about do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Love y'all.
Well, Zach, well, it's been fun.
Yes. Love you, Josh. Love you, Zach. Love you, Sarah.
Love you, fellas. Love you, Sarah.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Y'all come see us this afternoon on Iron Realm Media's Have No Sphere.